Let's welcome our first team onto the stage. Fluxo W7M! Notre première équipe brésilienne, c'est bien sûr pas la seule. Ils ont fait tellement dans leur trajet, depuis Montréal, depuis 2024 et jusqu'ici. Ils arrivent à Paris, plein d'énergie pour vous, pour ce marteau, pour ce trophée. Et ils sont là pour beaucoup plus que juste de gagner. And their opponents. Let's get ready for their opponents. What they accomplished in Sao Paulo in 2024 at the 6th Invitational there. Now they are back on the grandest stage, looking to conquer the world once again. Philippox, Lobin, come and join us up here just for a brief conversation before you get into this crucial matchup here in Paris. Philippox, welcome once again to the main stage. You know it oh so well. Milos, I'll let you go first.
Let's kick it off. Qu'on commence. Lobin, these guys at Furia, they beat you 10-0. That's the streak so far. You find them here in Paris. Do you have any last words for Philippox?
Out of all the matches that we face each other, this is the most important one, so this is the one that we beat them.
Que tous les matchs qu'on a joués contre eux, ils sont 10-0 contre nous. C'est l'événement, c'est le match le plus important et c'est ici qu'on va gagner contre eux.
Philippox, do you have their number and are you afraid of them at all?
We won against them the last 10 times, so this time isn't going to be different. We're going to win them.
On a gagné 10 fois contre eux et cette fois, ça sera pas différent. On le gagne encore.
Guys, shake hands. This is it. Go and take your seats. Best of luck to both of you. Let's get into this first matchup right now in Paris with our casters.
Thank you very much to everyone on the stage. What a match that we have before us today. Pengu, once world champions, Furia are looking for redemption. They're looking to prove that they've still got it. And this may be their last dance, their last chance.
That's the rumor.
And it is another chance for a man on the other side, on Fluxo W7M, Palu. The player who has done it all before, who's seen it, but never laid his fingers on that hammer.
And is it time? Is this truly gonna be that one moment where magic will happen? It seems like an impossible task, like for Fluxo, overcoming this insane obstacle, but a team once kicked out a fan favorite at a previous event. Atlanta 2023, Lowe's, the core of this Fluxo roster once upon a time, took down FaZe 2-0 to make themselves go into the grand finals. And while yes, this match does not take you all the way there, it is the first step in that process.
And of course, who did Lowe's face in that grand final? Oh, it was this Furia roster.
And how did that go, James?
Back when they were W7M. Well, look, they did take a map off of them, but in the end, in that W7M Furia era, that was the best team in the world. They won 2 majors. They won the 6th Invitational in Sao Paulo. They even won Reload earlier this year, last year, I guess. 2026 already. Is it time, though, for Fluxo to finally get one over Furia? Because the last 10 times that these teams have went head-to-head, it's been no question. It's been no context. Furia has had Fluxo's number.
It has been the case, but I feel like there's something about the domestic matchup when it comes to Brazil. Because they know each other so well inside and outside the server, you can't do the usual stuff and expect to get a victory. Your opponent knows you as good as you know yourself, so we need to see who's going to be the better team at adapting, bringing out the pocket strat, surprising their opponents, of course, being the better team on the given day. Every stat, every metric is going to back Furia as being that team, but that does not mean that Fluxo cannot get the win over the line.
And the story of this Six Invitational so far here in Paris for both teams has had plenty of highs. For example, Furia started things off taking down the fan favorites of Falcons, but also plenty of lows. Let's not forget, Furia got 0-2'd by Wildcard in the group stage.
Start.
They got 0-2'd by Falcons in the upper bracket. On the flip side of that, Fluxo, they've been phenomenal. So many great games, but they've lost to both Secret and FaZe. Who's coming in hotter into this matchup? Because Fluxo, they've been running that lower bracket, and you can see that they have the energy.
And they are smiling, they are laughing. I feel like they're going into this thinking very much that, guys, we have made it this far. Because I think for every player out there, of course you're going to win and lift the hammer, but what's the second best? The second best is to make it to main stage. Even if you only get one game here, that is more than most teams and most players will ever accomplish in their life. And they're on that stage. They're opening up the show for us today. They can see the crowd, they can see the fans. They're ready.
We want to talk about doing something that you've never done before. You look at this Fluxo W7M roster in their last year at Six Invitational in Boston a year ago. They had such an early exit, only making it to the top 16. At EWC and the Munich Major, only top 12. It's time for this team to prove now that they're here on the main stage, they can actually make a splash. They can actually take down one of the greats.
So much history. Such a beautiful intro segment we just saw. 10 years of his side, 10 years of Siege. And James, it's no spoiler here that we're going to see what's in the future of the game in only a couple of days. Of course, Saturday and Sunday. I had a very small glimpse into that future a couple of days ago.
Did you now?
I am excited. I am thrilled. I'm looking forward to the future of the game. Who would have thought we'd have been here 10 years ago? This far into the future, still present, and still rocking up.
Even prior to the very first Six Invitational, when we had that first season of Pro League, I mean, you were there, Pengu.
I was there.
You know how long that this game has been the beating heart of this community. You know how many times we've seen dynasties. I know we love to hate saying that word, but we've seen them rise and fall. Your own with G2 Penta, Furia have looked to overtake that era as the best team in history. And if they are to win here in Paris, nobody can deny it.
That's it. Right now, it's kind of up in the air. There's going to be people from back in the day saying, the Penta G2 era. But matter is, if Furia go the distance, if they make the finals, if they win the final, they will have the most dominant dynasty Siege has ever seen. And with that also, like we said, Igor, the coaching staff saying, the last dance. That would be a beautiful way for them to send that roster somewhere else.
I mean, Igor himself said that they almost broke apart after not qualifying for Montreal over a year ago, but they stayed together. They managed top 3 at last Six Invitational before they were eliminated by FaZe, who they had bested in Sao Paulo in that grand final. And now the story is set in such a similar way. And we go to Border as our first map, and my God, Pengu, we don't get far more chaotic than Brazilians playing Border, and with Fluxo W7M, these guys are aggressive as it gets.
We cast them in the group stage in phase 1, phase 2. They're crazy, but they're also creative. And I feel like Fluxo, they have been scaling this event, looking better and better. Because early on, I had my doubts, I had my questions, but now it's main stage time. They've proven that they deserve to be here. But Border against Furia, map 1. Scary one.
It is a scary one, and the community has spoken. Furia, 70% favored. Are there any final words for Fluxo W7M?
Hey, we're all looking good. It's gonna be the funeral, or just the occasion. If not, we'll celebrate them as they win.
Well, Furia look to continue their run, but Fluxo, they've been going through the lower bracket. Who takes it? Furia and Fluxo begins now. In the City of Love, we begin the Six Invitational main stage with the greatest team to ever touch the game, and Fluxo W7M, who are eager, bursting, burning for revenge.
They want to prove that Furia cannot go undefeated, that they cannot make every single grand finals, that they in fact can be taken down by a quote-unquote lesser team. But like we said, these two rosters know each other all too well. If you're Furia, you can probably just do your usual and maybe come out ahead because you have better players, more experience, more trophies behind you. For Fluxo, you gotta bring in that wow factor, something, a bit of a curveball to shake Furia and make that prep work not matter and not relevant.
And Fluxo W7M, well, they've got plenty of wow factors. This is such a star-studded roster. Palu and Dodez have the most clutches in the entire Six Invitational this year. 8 clutches each in the 22 maps that they have played. Dodez, 17 3Ks. He's an unbelievable beast. And let's not forget Palu, right? His 8th Six Invitational. He played his first one 7 years ago when he was 18 years of age.
Wow.
And now he is soon to be a father. He's played a Six Invitational in Paris here before. In fact, he's played the grand final. But that tragic day, that tragic weekend for him, where not only did he lose his own father, who passed away back home in Brazil, but he also then lost the grand final. He couldn't do what he was hoping to try and prove to his father, and now, well, he stands here at the Six Invitational looking to take down the greatest to ever do it for a spot in the lower bracket.
There's been a lot of debate this event about the meta and the operators and how do we define this current era of Siege, and I went to Reddit because they had a good post discussion going about what names would they spend and what names would they use. And most people seem to agree that power-ups has been the most notable word so far. We're in the power-ups meta where banning and playing very specific, very strong operators are by far the very best. So here, power-ups, the Clash, the Ying, both banned away. You can argue the same thing for Asami. There's a play rate, Grim and Blackbeard being brought out, very much again, those power operators. For Furia, it's good, comfortable guns. A little bit of trap, a little bit of protection, a little bit of drone denial, the Mossy, the Omai, the Lesion. In the very first round, you're on this stage, so much audio, so much noise. It's about settling into a long series and a long match.
That's exactly right. And so we see Fluxo W7M, a stereotypically very aggressive team, starting quite slowly. They're droning out the map. This is a great drone spot here from Palu.
Yeah, there's no game sound.
You can spot
We're
most
letting
of
them
what's
know.
happening in office. Fluxo W7M continue to look around, poke and prod, and figure out where they're going to start making a move. But there are a lot of traps on the defensive side. I'm thinking about those goo mines from the Legion. I'm seeing some barbed wire from the Aruni, and of course doors that will be locked up. Info denial from Nade's Mozzie. And if we see a rush attempted here from Fluxo, JV is... well, he should be in position not too far away with a Nitro cell.
C-Dot screen peeking right now for the intel game. Could be a lion scan on window, Black planting in the door. There's C-Force plant denial, but that's really it. If they're in the right position, it could work out. Nade is ready in archives in case they go for it.
Of course, you can't see through the Sens walls with the Warden.
I'm making some coffee right now.
Do they have information on what's going down? Because, well, there's no bulletproof camera. But in goes Dots. He's about to meet Philippox. It's a Blackbeard versus the Wolf.
What?
Philippox tries to drop Dots, will shut him down.
Off his control. It's not Archives going to cutting off that bomb site in half. So Nathan Archives is very isolated. No one can really help him, but KC's at a fountain. But they're stuck in these corner positions.
KZ does on the long angle, spray down one, but Loban has snuck into the objective and cleaned house. Furia now need to fight back as JV will eventually trade the last man standing. That Nitro Cell could easily deny the plant, but he's being covered off from the hallway. He gets able to cross for a brief moment, but Dodez will shut him down, and Fluxo W7M starts strong in the first round.
Very strong indeed. I mean, the saving grace there is actually Loban on the sense, kind of throws out the roly-polies and cuts off Armory from Archives' line of sight. And it's very important that he doesn't do anything for a very long time. It's going to be that Blackbeard line push inside of office. They apply pressure saying, hey, look over here, we're dangerous. But then Loban, much later in the round, jumps in Archives' window finally and goes for a backstab, taking out KC and Fountain. And that's what opens up everything, allowing Blackbeard to
Good morning.
establish down that case, that diffuser. So we see it right now. Vlogs
there we go.
Off the rip here in the very first round, playing a very sound attack, applying pressure from many different directions, and at the same timing. 3, 2, 1, let's push. And
Yeah,
if
let's see
you're
if it
a bit
stays that
unsure
way.
about your communication, getting Lion on the board helps you. That's a natural 3-2-1 counter when that Lion can start stopping those defenders from moving.
Furia are a team that sometimes start slow, sometimes start strong. Fluxo W7M,
See what
I'm
happens when
really
they pop back
impressed by
in.
them so far. A lot of their matches, they've lost the first map, and then went on to win the series. We saw that happen against Oxygen. We saw that happen against
Nope.
SSG. They've really faced a lot of grueling 3-map series, and they've looked just fine through it. So even if Border ends up going the way of Furia, of course, Furia are the ones who picked
It worked during the
this map,
replay.
then I wouldn't be too scared for Fluxo W7. I think no matter what happens, we're going to get a really banging 3-map series here, and I should sure hope so.
Here we go.
Now, if you think of Furia, I'm going to say back in their prime, back when they're WCM and winning every single tournament known to man, back to back to back, the majors, the SI, etc. They were known as a defensive-sided team that would lash out and go for early openings every single round. What we just saw there in the opening where Fluxo just won is they're actually not lashing out at all. They were holding back, waiting for things. Look at this, aggression punished by Volps. A beautiful read. The Solis sees that there's something happening outside, but the DMR, of course, much stronger in the long-range engagement, shutting down the aggression of Hertz immediately. And
There we
when
go,
you
another
use
sound.
Furia, this early
How you do
in
this
a
morning,
big
Frost?
game, that can affect the mental. Oh, I shouldn't be doing what my natural instincts are telling me. You're gonna start doubting yourself a bit more.
Yeah. And it's classic from Hertz. He's such an aggressive player.
He's the lion.
He is. And he tends to get shut down. When he does, it's hard for him to get his head back in the game. KZ inside of CCTV now feels tempted to also go for a bit of a run out, a bit of aggression. Felipox is the one to lash out for Furia first. Nate is also trapped in a bit of an awkward spot in office with the triple wall already opened up by Fluxo W7M and a Blackbeard on the other side. He's gonna get stabbed in the back by Palu. A second kill for the old guard with the DMR. And the pressure begins to mount for Furia.
I think I have prediction W7M.
Injured to the wall again, JB leaving just KC left alive on top middle.
It's a dream for Fluxo. These first 2 rounds have been impeccable, untouchable. KZ, a little bit of damage through
Jeez.
the wall. 2 can play at that game. And Loban shuts him down without breaking a sweat.
So we spoke about how the best team today have to play for the adaptations, that flexible play style. Furia right now in the first 2 rounds are playing very spread out around the map, very isolated.
Just waiting for my coffee to be done. It is almost quarter after 1 in the morning right now.
Because they want to play a little bit greedy. They want every single area of the map control. They want the East stairs, they want office, they want CCTV, they want break room. Sometimes you have to cut your loss and say we cannot play everywhere on the map and have the crossfires. And right now it's Fluxo WCM winning the individual gunfights and again being the better team.
Yeah, they're 2v1ing them as well.
They
Look
are.
what happened on Office. The Blackbeard is creating a great distraction. Palu can take out one player on the long angle and then use the alleviated crossfire to move in, find a backstab onto the second player. Looks like W7M already looking like they're right on the money here. They've come into Border very well prepared. I know that the guys in the pregame were speculating, Laxing and Foxe were saying, we don't know if it'll really come down to the maps. These teams have played each other so many times in the past. What it really will come down to is the mid-game adaptations, right?
Yeah.
And that's not something we've had a chance to see yet because we're only 2 rounds deep. But Furia, once they start to get a read on the Fluxo playstyle, we'll see them bite back, I guarantee it.
So while the map might not matter, it's about how you play that map, and Furia starting slow could of course be a small concern. We're actually seeing Fluxo engage the crowd right now, clapping for the crowd, saying let's cheer us on together, while Furia will sit there.
Am I reading?
looking at each
Yeah, I
other,
was looking at
now
some stuff
saying,
too.
so what do we need to change to bring it back? Because again,
I
this
gotta
is the
talk a little
last
quietly
house.
again.
There
It's
is
quarter
not
after 1 in the
more on
morning.
line as your goodbye.
If it is the last dance, then what does it mean for these players? Because while this is the greatest team we've ever seen in history, a lot of these players don't necessarily take the cake as the greatest player in history.
No, it's very much a team effort, and I think play style especially, how they play together, how in sync they've been throughout the times, the finals. It's also why I've seen them lose the rounds they have so far here in Boulder.
Just about all of them are running the
That's
DMR as well. I just noticed that.
being caught off guard, not having that synchronization, Fluxo being a step ahead. So just for the people watching right now,
There's a lot of background noise too.
for a short moment.
Wow.
I can't tell you why because I don't know, but we're figuring it out.
We'll be back into it before too long. Such a beautiful stage. Ian and Milosh on the intro before were talking about how we've got all of these beautiful flowers skirting around the stage, adorning it. It's gorgeous.
No,
My
I
favorite stages
I
we've ever had
I
in
I
Rainbow Six
answered you.
Esports, and we've had quite a few
I
of these
have to
great
talk quietly,
teams
and I'm watching
into the
this as
competition
well. But
at our 10th Six Invitational.
again,
So
it is
many
quarter
events,
after
so
1
many
in the morning
champions
right
have
now
come
for
and gone,
me.
so many prodigies
Yeah.
came and
I'm
went.
running on 3 hours, no,
The era
less than
of
3
Siege
hours of
in
sleep.
2026 is so different to what we saw
Oh.
in
Oh,
2016.
bye.
Completely different game.
I
No,
sat down.
Artbots, get out of here.
And now, with Fluxo W7M taking a 2-round lead, oh man, it's not a great day to be Furia. You see Igor taking a seat behind the players, just having to relax, keep his squad ready, keep his squad chilled out. Fury have been in this position 100, 1,000 times before. Fluxo W7M, they still have plenty of main stage experience, even though it has been a hot minute. Of course, let's not forget that 1.5 years ago, Dodes, Loban, Dots, and Volps were major champions in Montreal.
History, huh?
Yeah, I mean, look,
You were saying how different the game was, from now to 2016. I sat down with Stumpin for the content piece called Generations, where you have an old man, that was me, with a very young, not rookie, but first or second year player. We had Ashenon with Canadian, with myself, we had Stumpin, and we're going through clips of my time as a pro player in 2016, and Stumpin was like, trying to hold back laughter, be like, yo, you all suck, like, what are you doing, right? He was barely born, he was like 8 years old back then. He was barely born.
that's unreal.
Now we saw Dots locked in the strats, by the way, the strat book open, going through the pages.
As he should be.
I love how there's so many different approaches to a technical and tactical timeout, just how you spend your time. For some players, it's about emotions, either maintaining composure or building confidence.
You see some players meditate.
We see meditations, players like SSG are very known for that. We have some people, one tap King right there, apparently. We have some players like the IGLs very often, the in-game leaders, very much be strat-oriented. Or maybe it's even taking notes like, okay, we noticed this in round 1, how can we abuse that later on? Because Siege is all about
They're
keeping a
still-
3-minute kind of backlog of what happened in the previous round, and then only take out the most important details.
Yeah.
And when you see that bomb site the second time
Something
around,
else
you gotta
going on right
look
now?
back at what happened
I love the
before that.
cosplay every single year.
You've got to just remove everything. Wow, we've got so many. We got Dockerby, we had Nook, we even had the hostage. Wow, the outfits of everyone here in the video are insane. I'm loving it.
Every single time.
Looks like we might be getting back into it very shortly. What are you looking at? There?
What do we look at there?
What do you got there, Logan? Don't know what
I
that
think it's a monitor wipe, maybe. Even it looked like for like
nice.
dedusting or.
Yeah, if he gets a little bit too excited and spits all over the monitor. during
that,
some
yeah.
call-outs. Oh, we've got a blitz shield.
That's it. That's my.
Oh.
Oh, that's my kind of guy right there.
Phenomenal. Oh, the cosplayers are so
IQ
good
next
here.
door, yeah.
It's like Palu's having a chat with one of the admins. Now, we were talking about how this Fluxo roster, when they were W7M a year and a half ago, raised the major trophy in Montreal. It does make Palu the only player in this game to never raise a trophy. He's not played it in a Pro League Finals Grand Final.
No, you're right.
He never raised a major trophy. He's
No.
never raised
Dude,
an
that's so
EWC
good.
trophy.
No.
I love the
And of course,
cosplay.
never a Six Invitational, despite being in 3 grand finals. Copenhagen,
Yeah.
Jönköping,
Yeah.
both majors. And let's not forget, the last time the Six Invitational was in Paris in 2021.
That's true.
He's the best player to never win anything.
For the longest time, that was a duo statement with Nesk and Paolo in Liquid.
Well, yes.
And then when Nesk retired and Paolo went here, well, technically Paolo went here first, then Nesk retired, but either way, when they split,
It makes me question, can Palu do what Nesk could not? Nesk regarded as one of the greatest players of all time.
Yeah.
That beast of a legendary player from Brazil who in his very first season in Pro League made it to the grand finals with
The
at
Warden,
time,
too.
Black
That's so good.
Dragons
The
back in
Thermite as well.
2017. Brazil had only had a Pro League for a few months, and
Oh,
already
that's so
this
good.
team out of Brazil is beating some of the best European and North American teams, and they gave you guys a run for your money as well in that grand final. You had to sub in your 6th player just to take down Black Dragons.
Little Falco and KS switcheroo back in the day. They then changed the rulebook right after, making that pretty much impossible. And you had to share the same keybinds and setup and mouse and keyboard and all that kind of stuff. And
talk about how the game has changed. Like, oh, here we go. Sam Fish is in the house. Talk about how the game has changed. You brought in a 5th player, or 6th player rather, just because he knew a certain strat with mute jammers that nobody else could do.
That's it. On Bank, Falco was like, I can play open area and I can play. And we go, what do you need? He goes, nothing. No reinforcements? No. Should we roam with you? No. I roam alone. And he would just 1v5 basically.
And he did the same on Consulate as well with these mute jammers in the basement that would work through the floor to protect lobby. I used those mute jammers for years in ranked.
Everyone did, man. They were default mute jammers after the fact because they were so efficient. They were so good.
Good old back in the day, of course, Inesk has just recently retired because then actually, ironically, the current Black Dragons roster knocked him out of contention for the 6th Invitational.
Irony, huh?
The irony.
How things start and how things they end.
Yeah.
But no matter what you think about Inesk, the player, whether he was like, I don't know, not a real GOAT or he was the GOAT or whatever, he was one of the biggest reasons why
The flowers are really pretty
Brazil
too on
and
the stage.
LATAM got put on the map back when they did. Nesk has done probably more for the region than any other singular player has.
Without a doubt.
Of course, Raza with his co-streams, of course, covering the events and whatnot now.
In terms of being an active player.
Yeah, and before Brazil was even, as you said, officially in Tier 1 Pro League, it was Nesk who got the 1v5 in Oregon against Pain Gaming. It was Nesk who go to international tournaments as like the star player. It was his story for such a long time. And he was the best player in the world for many of those years.
For a player that has played so long and was, older for an esports player, and we don't have any 30-year-olds here at the 6th Invitational in the playing.
You're right.
For example, the oldest player at the SI is Canadian, who's just a few months away from turning 30. But Nesk was in his late 20s when he retired, and he was still on the front line, entry fragging.
Yeah.
He was still good at it. It was just his time to move on and focus on his family, and now, of course, his OG duo that we always talked about, Palu, he's moved on to a new team. Here he is with Fluxo W7M, also never having raised a hammer, never even having a major trophy, never in a Pro League trophy like Nesk himself did achieve back in 2017. Was it 2018? I forget.
I think it was...
It was Atlantic City.
Yeah, that must have been 2017. Must have been. So... Yeah, actually, it's true.
Oof.
I can confirm, guys, we're getting back into the game.
Are you confirming that?
The fist pumps are coming through.
That's the signal, yeah?
Boom, 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 fist pumps.
There's also a harsh noise.
I was going to say, he looks a bit stressed today. But I believe he wants to speak to the boys, maybe?
Yeah,
there it is.
Time for a tactical timeout for Furia.
Tá, bom que vocês já sabem. Ó, quem vai fazer pixel, eu quero que pegue o Castle. Quem não vai fazer pixel, eu quero trap ela e torne com arame. Esquece biri.
Ah, ela eu já
aí,
tô de arame,
qualquer coisa, tu faz esse Varden, mas faz de 12 aí pra gente tá de boa. E qualquer coisa, pô, você pega a Denari, você põe só a da banana lá pra gente e o resto você fica segurando ali pra tu na leste pra tu ficar grandão. Ó, eu quero o Castle na janela do cimento, na rádio, na porta do fundos e eu acho que na janela banana. Pra eles quebrar isso. Eles vão estar bem fodidos. Holdem a posição de vocês e tá de boa. Se tiver mais pro fim do round, vocês podem fazer o cruzado ali pra fonte, um pouco mais, que vai um pouquinho.
Eu acho que a gente muda o ban de terceiro e ban Twitch.
Fecha a ban. E aí a gente joga com esses três, nos três bombas funciona.
It's obviously a very early tag timeout from Igor, but I think getting ahead of the problem is very, very wise. Border can flip very quickly, can get ugly very quickly, and if this is the pace that Fluxo have set this early, you have to counter it. I heard some Ella, some castles, some concrete words being thrown around.
Maybe a cap can?
Oh, the EDDs.
I heard very much traps, a lot
That's
of
cool.
traps. And I think that's the right call. We're very much in a meta at the moment because it's so much about gap finding on the attacking side. The defense loves to lean.
Gotta close it, man. That's what that he's doing. Concrete. We gotta pour some concrete, close some gaps.
Fluxo W7M, we've casted a lot of them this event so far, and you know how they get around those traps? They play a lot of Brava and Twitch. And even Flores. All of the special drone squad makes their appearance. They send those in, they clear everything out, and then they just do what they were going to do anyway.
That's literally it. And there's just something about how efficient they are at finding those gaps time and time again. Now, Fury, we can talk operators, we can talk about the setup, the traps, etc. I want to see some more established crossfires. Like I said, choose which area of the map you truly want to fight for, hard hold those positions, and either fall back or fight together. not the whole let's play every single area isolated in 1v2s or 1v1s, because like we said, when one player falls on border, you lose a lot of map control, you can't refrag, and it makes the rest of the round even more challenging with every single death. So you want to try and trade equally across the board. When a defender dies, you kill an attacker, now you're 4v4, so on and so forth. That's going to be a big win condition. So look out for the trading game here from the side of Furia.
So I have a translation of the tactical timeout from our lovely Maria. Pick Castle, Ella, Thorn, and Barbed Wire. Felipox, pick Denari, and put in Banana and hold East. I want Castle in Radio, Cement, and Banana Door, so they will be very effed. Felipox, let's change Nomad ban and ban Twitch instead.
Ah, so they got the read.
Next round, they can actually ban out the Twitch potentially.
Interesting. So Nomad, of course, the runouts, but instead, if they're gonna play the Tributor, like you said, those pesky drone operators can be denied instead.
Not the bees.
Bees going out, and now we see Hertz falling back. You see, not playing for his life solo in CC 1v5, falling back towards a teammate that's closer by instead.
Entry from the Sen, supported by the Zafir, who takes a little bit of damage. Dotson is slightly off plan.
There is no
trying to
C4.
avoid the bangs through the smoke. Amidst the chaos, though, Furia look for an opening, but Dodes is shut down by KZ. The Ella comes to life inside a CC, and Fluxo W7. The piece is back up again. Volps caught between two players, can't find his target, and now Dots unable to get that diffuser down. Finally has a sigh of relief after that one kill, but he's caught on camera, and he's so separated from his teammate of Palu on the other side of the map. And now the soon-to-be father is the last man standing. The Lion of Furia steps up and holds the fort.
Such a good rotation, giving up CCTV, not dying in that 1v5 to make Armory weaker, but fall back and then retake it later on. You saw there at the end in the 2v3, Paolo was so desperate to get inside of Armory, cut the bombs in half, and enable his teammate to go for a plant attempt. But he was fighting CC the entire time because they never gave up control fully. Furia, Igor, great read, great adaptation. Of course, they hit their shots, and now they got a game plan on their hands because they said before, next round, don't ban the Nomad, ban the Twitch to enable this style more and more and more.
It tells you a lot about what Fury originally intended to do. When they were going to ban that Nomad, it was lots of runouts, lots of aggression. Remember round 2, Herds went for a spawn pick.
How did that go?
He saw a player droning, didn't work out. Fury have thought, okay, we're not going to go for aggressive runners. We don't need to ban that Nomad. It's a waste. Get rid of the Twitch, keep leading into the traps.
Very important to note here, Sense got changed. I think it's like a year ago now, maybe more, maybe less.
Can't see through it.
You can't see through it as a smoke grenade, so I'm sure some people go, oh, they had a BP camera and archives, they could see the plant go down, etc.
Can't see through.
Nobody can see through. Glass can't either.
The hostage. They actually have a hostage.
Look, does not want to give him back.
So when Sense dies, it changed how that attack was structured because now you will get red ping without the wall, and that's where the fear of the wall bangs are coming through. They had to go deep.
But we did see a real clue of how Fluxo want to attack in that round. It's a little bit everywhere all at once. Even if they do want to go for an Archives rush, they're going to have pressure CC. They're going to try and distract the remaining Furia players. As we see, the bans have rolled on through. The Twitch, as Igor suggested for Furia. On the flip side, the Castle. So Fluxo doesn't want to give Furia the ability to lock up and change the architecture of the map.
It's funny because if I had to pick out one area that was a big weakness last round, it was the CCTV window was castle barricaded and they never opened it. So in that
this is the background noise is making it difficult to understand or to hear him.
A way to help his teammate. So I think the castle ban is very wise. But now we're going to see the Brava Flores in substitution of the Twitch ban.
He's checking for traps. He's looking out. Is there a Kapkan? No. Is there? What is he looking for on the ceiling? I don't know if it's a Valkyrie.
Fenrir.
Perhaps a Fenrir Dreadmine. And so with the Twitch being banned out, of course, Fluxo can still lean into the Brava for drones and all.
He's so sure there's something here. Oh, there it is.
There it is. He found the Dreadmine eventually. Talking about other operators left unbanned, the Nomad, which originally Furia was going to ban, that has made an appearance. So Furia's going to have a little bit of restricted mobility.
Does mean that the pace will change as well, right? Fluxo a bit slow in the first minute, 30 seconds. They got a spin.
Because I don't think that's coming through their microphones. Their microphones on their heads are usually pretty good about blocking out the sound. And this has to be the mics that are inside the arena.
Like a 2v5 or 3v4 because you're still in spawn droning. So Dots and Blackbeard downstairs makes an appearance. They know Eastness is clear. There's no danger. There's no threat. It's free map control here from inside of Fluxo, slowly tightening the net around the entire building. Casey under a lot of fire will survive and fall back towards the bomb site, letting his teammate with more health upstairs play his spot instead.
We still have a whole 4 players upstairs for Fury, a very solid hold. Volk's now making an entrance, able for his Blackbeard, but Loban has taken down Philippos. Managed to sneak up the metal stairs somehow, and here comes the execute. Upstairs, Fluxo flush them out one by one. Still JV and Herds try to hold on for as long as they can up the top. But there are lurkers down on the ground floor, and Volps has finally finished off KZ.
Fury playing the clock, they're falling back, then retaking top floor again, playing the entirety of the positioning game right now on the lot of fire. Dodge with the case in CCTV, there's the Blackbeard, mind you. He has to roam clear, he also has to be the planter later on, has to stay alive and go for a different location.
30 seconds, time is ticking away. Nade on the side is trying to hide for as long as he can, but with Herd still upstairs, Fluxo not able to go for a plant down below. This is going to be really desperate. You're right.
Creeping in.
Gonna have to go through workshop.
Oh, they're planting.
He's looking to plant in the smoke. If Nade gets on his gadget, he will be able to see through. Surely there's a spray that could come through from JV, but he's too late. The plant goes down, and now JV is surrounded. And Fluxo W7M collapse.
Fluxo once again. They have a strong play. Fight for top floor control, get kills if they want to surrender those to us. If they fall back, we will flip it. They took top floor. We saw dots on the BB go deep in CCTV, get shot to less than half health, and then go, I can't fight anymore. Guys, the roam clears off. Yes, we want to get that final kill in armory, but it's not worth it. Let's just go for a plant attempt. And they just do it. They sprint from CCTV into East Stairs and walk into the bomb side. And the only person with the smokes was ready, waiting for the Blackbeard.
That's so
It
cool.
was orchestrated ahead of time. Communication is super clean and very much foresight in these strategies.
A lot of individual moments that just worked out for Fluxo there.
Definitely.
The collapse on the top floor was impeccable. Herds, we can see in that clip, was completely distracted. When the execute was coming through, he wanted to deny the plan vertically. I want to know what happened for JV on the Tachanka. He had a red ping. He knew exactly where that plant was going down. But instead, he tried to fight the player on the workshop door. If he just swung as wide as he could and sprayed through the smoke, maybe the plant would have been denied.
The funny thing about operators like the Tachanka is that there might actually be a very easy lineup that denies that plant spot without exposing yourself to the guy on the blue door. It's very possible, but we wouldn't know it. And I don't think JV knew it either.
Snooze.
Instead, right? And that's the thing about Tachanka. He hasn't fully been figured
Ads are going to have to run between rounds.
There's a lot of potential left up their sleeves. That's why we see Smoke being banned actually a fair bit at this event, because Smoke has been figured out. You know all the lineups.
A little surprised we didn't see a Smoke instead of the Tachanka last round. It might have led it to it being a little bit of a different story. Timing could be perfect here for Loban. He's been so on fire already. 8 kills to his name in just 5 rounds as JV is quickly shut down.
Again, the communication, the droning costumes, forcing him back, red ping for fake pressure. And you know, as you say, Prime Furia, they don't fall back because of red ping. They will fight their ground. Look at this, 2v1. The timing is perfect.
Didn't even.
That's genius. He sprinted into CCTV with the
Jeez.
sound while Nate held the metal stairs, knowing look at be called too late.
If Nate wasn't there, then KZ's a dead man. Loban, though, early on the lurk, but quickly shut down. I think Furia will happily take the 1-for-1 trade. Of course, they still have his stairs control. Philippox is holding on for as long as he can. He's the tuber out.
Yeah. Mind you, though this is on the Thatcher, which power counters Kaid. Kaid dying for Deimos? Oh, this is worth it if you're on the defensive side. And also Timer, half the round burned away. Fluxo again, a little bit slower pace right now. Loban is that spearhead. And when he does die, we need to replace him with a different injured player. But who's going to do that? Paolo is Grim. 5 Grim Bees in pocket, so important. Volps just spent the last Togepi, now they can aggress up. But as I say that, Paolo goes down to Philippos. This injury, it has no teeth.
If Fluxo W7M cannot find a way to clear out that deadly player on East Stairs. And so instead they try and focus up on KZ. But he is so good.
Look at that. Yeah, they got that wall open, yeah.
Kill positions, sneaking through from East Stairs into 90. Dots will find one, but KZ quick
It's
on the
2v2
train.
now.
Volps has finally shut down Herds, who I think was in offices, and that's going to force a rotation from Philippox. He goes back towards the bomb site. Tellers, KZ has that diffuser it's locked down on 90. Volps is going to get access to all the defenders' cameras now.
That's smart. Get a bit more information. No time to drone. No drones left really.
Oh, they have to grab diffuser too.
Upstairs, surprisingly enough, we know that Casey's waiting right around this corner.
Casey needs his kill, and he does find it. Donis did not have time to drone, and Volps now needs to refrag, pushing for the play onto the Warden. He goes and the Nitro cell will take him down, but he knows exactly where Philippox is because
He's not gonna get down there.
just walked straight past
7
the default.
seconds.
There's no way.
All the information he needs.
3 seconds.
The time is not on his side. He needs to go
1
deep for
second.
the kill.
Oh.
Philippox with the DMR holds the line for Furia.
No rotate between the sites. Only one way in. That's the door.
Let me start this ad really quick.
Philippox, he's the
In between.
IGL, the mastermind, the backbone of this roster. He will lock down the round for his team. Furia, again, slowly figuring things out, how to approach it up top floor, where to fight, when to fight. And while Loben got a beautiful intro kill off the drone working customs, he went even further and then got punished. And that's the thing about Border. Border is maybe one of the only maps where Loben going for another
Jeez.
aggressive play after already finding the opening is not a bad idea. Had we played Bank, had we played Consulate, had we played Clubhouse, you'd probably go, Loben, you're kind of trolling because that's too risky. But this is Border. You have to keep up that aggression, that confidence. And Loben, he loves the middle stairs. Every game we've cast, he will find a way to that staircase. He will get a kill or two.
He's looking for a gap constantly. That's why we keep seeing these traps being brought. Igor said in his tactical timeout, a lot of barbed wire, a lot of Ella.
Yeah.
We're even seeing the Thorn now, which was also mentioned. Herds and KZ are hard sticking this operators. That's 2 sets of barbed wire. And then 4 Thorn traps, 3 Grishmot mines. Now we have the extra layer, information from the Echo.
A lot of people are gonna go, but James Barber is
Yeah,
useless.
every time
Not
I
anymore, it's not.
That's the
live
thing,
stream
right?
this,
With
I
the
always get
Thorn,
an itch to
really
play, and then I go and play, and I
for a kill.
just have panic attacks the whole time.
Barbed wire on the middle staircase will make no attacker go there. The presence of a barbed wire changes the outcome of the round. Not having a barbed wire means they will go there now. When there's barbed wire, they won't go there, so you think, oh, it's useless because they never punched it.
Perceived pressure.
Exactly.
It's about being able to alleviate your anxiety on one side. Oh,
Okay.
Jeez.
give it a rest. Dodes, what did he do to deserve that? A spray drive by the barricade, and it doesn't get much better here for Fluxo.
Volps is down too.
Philippox aggression, right? The Yokai drone scouting for intel, it counters the Monty, counters the injuries, enables the spawn.
Dude.
Not this dead as well. This round is falling apart.
Yeah.
That's that Fury aggression that we know and love, and it's why they wanted the Nomad ban originally.
And now Fluxo W7, well, nice little love tap from Parluz. Philippox will go down 2v4. He needs to
Philippox swing
reclaim
that.
that diffuser. Now, Pox still has a few Yokai drones that he can just look at, but he can't actually move them and use them to get more aggressive for Furia. I think 4 players up. This is pretty much locked in. How does Furia fumble this? I don't really see a way.
Has to be a bit of a throw here. You gotta give them their ones. And Loben is alive. He's the master of fun.
She came all the way down here. I'll give her a treat.
He's fishing downstairs, up the bathroom, heads towards office. Here comes the track, exposing both his and Sentry's location, which is not.
It was saying something. I didn't know what it was saying.
It does
That's
give
the
info.
fountain.
And he's on solid floor, so there's no ability to go for a shot through that ceiling. Palu's just baiting for a kill. They don't know that CCTV is actually clear at the moment because KZ is holding onto his position with the shield. That's the advantage as well. I believe they brought that to the Echo. Perhaps the
Jesus, man.
can use it to continue fighting. Another kill for him. And Furia have pretty much guaranteed this round. It was a 3-1 start for Fluxo W7M. And now Loben has to clutch a 1v4. Otherwise, Furia will tie the score for
Oof.
seconds. He actually, like you said, has a grenade. He could take out the shield at that 90 position. KZ's going to fall back. 1v2, this is starting to look a little sketchy.
It is. If only that grenade went out before your teammate died first, right? Thornchip has to push.
Oh.
One step backwards, the Thorn catches you.
There's not much you can do there.
As well, and it's why the Barbar Thorn can be so lethal.
Fury have brought it back to an even score at the end of the half after a 3-1 deficit. They did use their tactical timeout very early, but it was clearly worth it. And now Igor has another chance to talk to the squad while they're doing the second set of operator bans.
Yeah, you're gonna go, guys, ban A, ban B, now let's talk strategy. Because you only get these, 30 plus seconds or so. So Thatcher and Clash get traded out. The fact that Thatcher gets banned away could very well be some trickeronies here.
Thatcher ban is a bit
Could
suspicious.
be a Kaito 2-brow response. No.
I was wondering.
Oh, is it
You ban the
C4s?
Thatcher, you ban the Glaz. That is like the new meta, the cheese meta for these attacks, right? These rushes. You have the Glaz, you smoke things up, you plant ideally behind a shield, and the Thatcher EMPs those C4s. That's not in play for the rest of this.
That's a good shot, actually. We've seen that a fair bit of times. The same thing with the Goyo ban and Clash ban, right? What does that stop? It stops the rush. It stops the push. So very much goes both ways.
Furia trying to enable the rush by banning out Clash and Goyo.
Exactly.
Also trying to deny
Peanut.
the rush.
What you doing?
Playing the same game on different sides.
Hey, babies.
Fluxo using those bans on two less banned operators does open the floodgates for all of the other power-ups.
It does. It very much does. I mean, we gotta talk about all the shields are in,
Three
right?
big shields.
Yeah, Blitz, Blackbeard, and Monty, the Grim, the Deimos.
Ying, Deimos, Dokkaebi.
Literally everything. It's almost a matter of like, guys, which really strong attacker should we bring this round? Because everything is wide open.
Well, they're not really leaning into the cheese, are they?
No, they're not.
Monty, oh, the Monty is going to stick, but no Ying, which is available. I guess with the Warden still up, it's a bit more dangerous to go for anything too flash or smoke-centric.
And they're gonna play the Warden probably every single round, if not close to, because they gotta respect the possibility of it.
You'd probably expect this to be a Warden or Mirror ban come through in the next 3 rounds.
Definitely could be.
But of course, we've got a whole lot of Siege to play before we even get there.
But before, Laxing, I think, has a call-in for us, James.
Let's see what Lax has to say. Or do we not?
Perhaps not.
That's all right. Laxing, look, when you're ready, mate, get in here. Otherwise, we'll just keep on chilling. Keep on watching as Furia start to mount up a little bit of pressure.
Not entirely certain. Now, Furia not known as the biggest shield team known to man. Both in terms of playing against it, also playing with it.
Hold on, goes back.
But it has to be brought here by Mr. Nate.
My question is, how's Furia going to deal with the mirror windows? Loban's still holding his position in the hallway at 90. Volps as well with that DMR. It's so good for the long angles. Plus the mirror window makes East control much less impactful here, even once Furia get it.
Oof.
Finally, a nice big shot from Palu as he hunts down KZ below. Out of nowhere, Furia have found an opening, and Fluxo have very quickly shut it back down again.
Yeah, issue with the Monty, right? You can get in the battle, but the teammates behind you can't just walk in that same door into those exact same crossfires. So you gotta problem solve step by step.
Oh.
Nicely tossed by Paolo.
That was such a nice angle, by the way. Whoever grabbed that, that's working the feeds. That was such a nice angle.
Philipbox, the only real gun in the server on the attacking side, has to do all the hunting.
That was perfect timing.
Oh, the bubble is surely gonna kill him somehow. Philipbox survives, only takes a bit of damage, but he has the debuff from the Thorn now. And Loban is hanging out down
They still have
below
2
with his
C4s.
nitro cell primed and ready. He's gonna keep it for now. Oh, from Nade with the pistol. Has a perfect read on the Volps. Now it's just going to be a plant attempt. Surely this isn't possible. Loban down below. Boom. And a nuclear C4 shuts down the push from Furia.
Yeah.
Leapox
There's still
has
one more
everything
C4.
to do.
One step ahead now.
One
in the very
v3
beginning.
with the DMR. Needs to isolate these one by one as he knows exactly where Dots is on the Warden. Info from a yellow ping, but Dots will swing to win. And Fluxo W7M retake the lead.
It has just been like a matter of being one step ahead. I don't know what else to say. Fluxo were ready for the Monty, ready with the verticality, and understanding as long as you establish very strong crossfire and play around the mirror window, they can't do much about it. Fury are being forced into picking things apart strategically, which I'm not saying it's a weakness of theirs, but it's not their biggest strength. So very much a good game of adaptation.
You talk about strategy.
We're deep in there.
At the moment, deep into the strat book, getting ready to set up for the next round. And I believe it is now time to hear from our lovely analyst, Laxing.
All right, are you guys able to hear me now? All right.
There we go.
To talk about that last round, Pengu, I love that you talked about, they played slow, they delayed that time, they played off into those layers, and that's what we need to
That's
see.
C4 right there, man.
On their attacks. That's why Fury was so ready for it, because they were just repeating the exact same attacks. And we talk about those stylistic matchups. This is going to be so important for the side of Fluxo to make these work, but not only make them work, when they readdress them for the next time they go back to that site, they have to do something different, or Furia's going to have a response. But just like we saw there, they played off those layers. They waited to make Furia force their own hand. They have to be ready to switch that tempo at a given's notice.
Thank you so much, Laxing. And I'm right there with you. I think both of us having that former player experience have seen Border one too many times to figure out what the weaknesses really are. Now, in terms of adaptations, Furia struggled with the mirror window in particular. It's being brought out again.
They're not bringing Ash, they're not bringing Kali, they're
doubling down with Kaid as well. Right? So I feel like Fluxo very much recognized they struggled with this. Meanwhile, Furia is showing us maybe we didn't as much as you think that we did. It's that, or of course, plan B. Circumvent the mirror window. If it's somewhere facing, let's say, Armory portion, you go Archives. But there are 2 mirror windows on the mirror, which means if they spread those out evenly, you can cover vast majority of the important areas of the map.
Yeah, I think it's a bit scary here for Furia.
90.
They also don't have any clear counters for the Aruni gates. You're not bringing the Brava. The Thorn has proven to be a real struggle, and against this Blackbeard, that smoke is going to be really powerful as well. So Furia need to make sure that they find a way to crack through this defense, whether it's by subverting some of this control where a lot of the util is stacked and looking for a gap elsewhere, or just addressing it head on. That's going to be hard because they don't have clear-cut util to address a lot of it.
That's why I think it's taking a bit longer to get started, because they really have to, as you say, James, measure 2 or 3 times before cutting once. These pushes, when they come, have to be very clean, and they're constantly rotating. Soft mirror downstairs, so the call has been made, guys. Soft mirror, Force can clear it out, perhaps, but the way in, not possible. Instead, the soft floor is reinforced as well, so you can't get in there. The Kite Claw looking for it. The issue is that Kite Claw, if it's not right here, it could be
It was up above.
I don't see it in this room.
I think it's in the room above.
I think so too.
Have a look for that. Nade is now trying to nade it out.
They don't know where it is at all.
Just getting completely counter-stratted.
Guys, it's not here, right? It's not here, boys.
Where is that mirror? Where is that Kayuklo? It's going to have to be the floor above.
They're being locked out by a single Akai.
JB thinks it's right there in the corner, so he's going to use a Selma on it. He might be right, but meanwhile, if in doubt, frag it out. Herds has snuck in from the back line and found a big double kill. Somehow Nate is looking for a plant as well as Herds has found a 3rd one. Finally shut down. Loban is going to have to do a lot of the heavy lifting here for Fluxo W7M. But at the drop of a hat, Furia have found the plan into the post plan.
Nice.
And they bite back hard. Fluxo in a 1v4, and even Loban with 12 kills cannot find the round. The hero of the day is Herds for Furia.
That's ridiculous. Strategically, completely locked out by Kite Claw. They're grenading, their floor is shooting thing in. It's gotta be some here, right? It's not. It's the trickery of some of these operators. And this is honestly, you see big smiles from Igor. We stalled the round. We messed up, we got stuck, and yet we just do what we do best. 3, 2, 1 push.
Strategically, that round was so GG.
Oh, man.
Furia were absolutely cooked. They had nothing going for them. They were using Selmas.
I love that.
On soft floor, because they assumed
The Tachanka
must be in that corner.
play up there. That's so good.
That's how desperate they were. And then Herds is like, you know what, maybe I'll just go and kill everybody.
Yeah, and I mean, that's what he did. He walks in, takes a smoke out first, watches his own flank, a second pre-fire, gets Dotus on the Thorn, on the flanker, and then a very proper hipfire. It's ridiculous.
Hipfire through the floorboards, by the way.
The second they take down the smoke, who can then toss in a smoke unit into default plant spot, BB rushes that bomb site and starts planting. They know there's a gap now.
Oh my god. Cosplay this event is
so many as well.
And a lot of niche skins being cosplayed.
Now, Fluxo W7M, when we cast them in phase 1, phase 2 this tournament, they were kind of like the budget Fury, like they're lashing out, the spawn peeking, they're running down with enemies. They're heavily playing into strategy for this one. That's the curveball that we wanted to see.
Quite a 180.
Yeah, this is not like their current.
Oh.
That's Fluxo, right? That's what they do usually. A little cheeky peek. And like Laxing said, changing the pace. Fury had to figure out that pace, but if Fluxo keep changing it, it's very hard to feel that in the server, what kind of tempo they're going for. And we're gonna see Nate on a second round of Monty, which the first time around wasn't necessarily the solution they were needing.
And of course, with Loban popping off, you give him a license to make aggressive plays. However, it won't always work. Filippo's gonna go deep.
He's just gonna plant.
He saw that he killed the Solar, so he knows they won't have info into the planter. An aggressive C4 from Dos, but Filippox hears the rip and goes around to find the kill. Oh, it's genius from Filippox. He's taking matters into his own hands, and he still stays on the side. Now he's slowed everything down. He knows Filippox has pretty much read the round to perfection. Fluxo have to get aggressive, and one by one they fall. Filippox is the IGL, and he leads the charge from the front.
Jeez, man.
They took down the Solar's main door and thought, that's the win con. If we're playing that strat, that's how we figure out when and where the planet is going down. So if we rush right now, they won't know a damn thing. And then Filippox plays it beautifully, jukes the C4, wide swings, wins the individual fight up against the Bandit. And it's funny because that's 2 rounds of Monty, where the Monty has been the least valuable operator in the round for the attackers. Yet, one time they won, one time they lost. Whoa. You'll see it here if you have sharp eyes. They banned the Monty.
Wow.
They banned the Monty. Mirror ban, not surprised at all.
Fluxo take their tactical. What do you got to say, Norris?
Oh, too late maybe?
I think that it was. I can see from the monitors right now that the round has actually started, so it looks like we didn't have the tactical timeout called in time, so it's now been cancelled. Ego should have his mic up, but he's not talking to the team. Oh, no. Here we are.
I think we're playing on.
Are we going to pause the game?
Might be a rehost.
So we're going to rehost into the tactical timeout. So we're going to have, I believe, a technical pause first, and then we'll do the tactical timeout.
Okay. That is, just to speak to the operator bans there. The mirror ban, very expected. That was going to be like my #1 priority by far, if I'm on the attacking side of Furia. The Monty ban, from the outside looking in, looked completely useless as a non-factor. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I don't think Furia were playing around it. Like, they're playing the operator, but they're not structuring the attack around the operator, which normally you would do with a Monty. So I feel like banning it away, 1, will make Furia stronger, because now Nate gets a real operator, but also 2, did you really feel any pressure from the Monty if you're on the defending side?
And you've always got Blackbeard and Blitz as well if you want another shield.
And they can do, obviously, Blitz and Blackbeard can't do what Monty does. But if Monty doesn't do anything, then you're better off banning the Blackbeard or the Blitz because they do something else.
Yeah, it's just interesting to me that Fluxo have essentially gone for all 3 operator bans targeting the executes with Glaz, the Thatcher, and now the Monty. They haven't gone for anything like the Dockerby. Wow, proximity alarm. The Smoke Elite as well.
You know, I thought IQ was gonna put out like a valve cam and be like, "Ha, I got you, I found you," but it was a phone. I was like, "Oh no."
All right, looks like we're almost ready to get into this tactical timeout. Norris has a chance to talk to the Fluxo W7M roster.
He's pretty much like, "Oh guys," he's like having a speech, right?
Yeah,
gotta get into the right groove.
I feel like if you're a coach, you would have a little notepad, right? Like it would. If I was a coach, I would want a little notepad and just constantly jotting down notes between rounds so that you know what you're going to say in your tactical timeout, so you know what you can say at the end of the map.
Well, very much so.
All right, guys.
There it is.
We're about to get back into the game. The tactical timeout has officially been called. It will start as soon as the game has actually launched. The map's actually begun, which will be in just a moment. Mics are about to be unlocked now. Norris really needs to chime in. And here he goes for W7M.
Sinal default. Única diferença, eu quero trocar o logo pra Azami, pra você ficar jogando, dando prioridade pra banana. Tá? Bobão, você vai ser Smoke, pra fazer na leste. Quando você gastar seus 3 Smoke,
Here's Azami Smoke.
Ou for do TZK, o lobo tampa a janela passarela, você volta, vai jogar do Zig, pune um drone, desce e depois vai pra metal, sobe, tipo, você não quer morrer no Zig, tá? Que a gente não tem reforço lá. Oficina, a gente vai fazer a mesma coisa.
Tá falando Zig ou Matrix? Zig mesmo, Zig é Zig.
Exato, Zig.
Tá bom, beleza.
Mas você começa no Matrix, é isso?
Sim, eu vou começar lá e... você sabe que ele vai fazer
oficina default, a gente vai pegar, só que aí dessa vez o roupão vai de Azami, pegar, fazer step last, e aí
Now, of course, we won't know what they said, but we are awaiting Maria's translation for us. Norris is what we call a vibes coach.
Oh, he
and that's
really
not a
is.
negative thing at all. He always seems to have the correct words for his boys.
Well, you remember when Igor took his tactical timeout, it was
very strategic.
So strategic.
Yeah.
It was bring the Ella, bring the Thorn, bring the Castle, do this. We're going to kill them here, right? We're going to do this. It's all about the game stuff. Norris, I mean, he has some of the best aura. At Reload, when we had a chance to see teams pick their opponents, he had some of the most vicious aura. He was so relaxed.
Yeah, it seems to be more general for him. They can be plays like guys. They're playing this style, play faster, play slower.
That said, this game so far, as you identified, Fluxo have been playing unusually strategic.
They have. So I am curious if this is a sign to go back to basics.
That border chalet and then cafe.
I have with it is the way they lost.
Yeah, I think that's what that is.
Was they went back to the very
Border chalet, then cafe.
Style for Fluxo W7M, running out main dogs twice, both people dying, and then they lost the bomb site control. I feel like the strategy has been working so well for them. But now we're gonna dig into the layers, okay? They bring the mirror and the heavy strategy the first 3 rounds. They force the mirror back. Now they're gonna play the more, we're gonna hold areas with good guns, traps like they usually do, which is more comfortable for them, and they've cheesed a round or 2. So I could see this being the turning point for Fluxo's playstyle to change.
Of course, if you're not aware, a lot of these teams don't just have a coach, they've got a slew of support staff. Fluxo W7M have Thug, who's been their analyst for quite some time now. Yep.
I like that name.
And Furia have quite a few. They just brought on Lenda and Abradex just recently to support them.
One from NIP, is that correct? Was it NIP? Ooh, I believe from, I think from Twitter, Igor was like, they picked up one of the freelancers from NIP.
Yeah, I think they were formerly of NIP.
They know they're not there anymore.
Both of them. I'm not 100% sure on that. But Furia have a whole army of analysts because they've also got Abreu, who's been their assistant coach for quite some time, and Vitz, who I believe is still doing analyst work for them. You can analyze all you like. If Dodes is swinging you, you better be careful. Dodes has been really hot throughout the tournament, but has had a quiet start to today. Had to get spotted by the Twitch drone, but Herds doesn't have a lot of ways to try and flush him out, and Nade might do the trick with KZ down below.
He's using Thorn Trap. If there is one by this when you jump in, you are cooked. So I think the Twitch drone going in first was looking for it, but it could also be in the shelf, hard to see.
Dodes has the read. He knows that KZ is down below.
And Buck should know exactly where he is.
Oof.
Buck in the wrong area, maybe also looking for a trap first, and able to back and jump in.
Trap is genius, and Philippox downstairs hunts down Volks. Now Dodes on the burn, finally finished off by KZ, and Furia have bitten back with a 2-player advantage now. Loban, though, he's been the deadliest player in the server in this map so far, and he looks for a swing. A lot of damage on the JV, but receives a lot from the window behind him, and on his retreat, KZ from down below. Furia are locking in together to find these kills.
This C4 has to land. You gotta take down the Blackbeard right here, right now. Gets tossed on now, hits the shield, but then the injure follow-up on the guard break animation. Paulo makes this winnable for his team. It's him and Dots playing inside of Fountain, inside of Armory, not playing together, trying to hold map control for a bit more time. 25 seconds, mind you, no Goyo, no smoke. The timer is real. It comes down to the execute in 3v2.
Beautiful shot from Palu with the slug shotty. As JV falls, KZ and Philippox have to clutch up for Furia. Dots is holding a long angle, and Palu up close with a slug shotgun. Philippox, will he look for a plant?
No.
Amidst the smoke, it's KZ to go deep, but Philippox, he has no choice but to get off the plants. And there's nothing to be done for Furia, because Fluxo W7M continue battling on border.
Beautiful fighting back, recognizing when you have to go on the offense and when you have to play it back and make them make that first move. Aggression in a 2v4 and in a 2v3. The second they tied it up into a 2v2, they say they want to go for a plant. That's how they're gonna win. If we don't give them any kills, they can't go for a plant because they can't cover 2 separate angles with a single gun, and they don't have enough time to problem solve. So Fluxo, W7M off the tag timeout, very much successful, but I gotta praise KC on the buck. Finding 3 kills, vertically both clearing out a CCTV player, cutting off the run back, and 90 shortly after right here. It's beautiful. It is very old school style siege, customs clear to CCTV. Sadly, it all falls apart. Furia maybe rushing a bit too much with 18 seconds left.
And yet they won the start of that round. It really just came down to the mid-round and their failure to clear out Palu from inside of Armory. Now, we do finally have a translation of the tactical timeout from 2 rounds ago. You want me to rattle off that one for you?
Please do.
All right. So what Norris was saying to the team is prioritize banana. Now, quick question. Do you know what they're talking about when they say banana? Because I don't have a call out for banana on border.
Okay, so logically, I'm thinking it's either 90 or it's going to be the break room catwalk.
Okay.
But
Well,
I
he
don't
said
know.
prioritize banana. Folks, you're going to be smoked on east stairs. Once you've burned your 3 smokes, ask Loban to help you get past the window and survive. Just get out of there. Workshop, let's do the exact same thing. Defaults, Volp's going to play Azami, and they'll do step-by-step on east stairs.
Okay.
So that was the plan. We do have Volps on the Azami. We don't have a smoke pick, though.
Not for this one, no. Of course.
Going to be playing East again, but Dodes is caught off guard. This is so uncharacteristic of one of the top fraggers of the tournament so far.
Yeah, but Loban fights back, looking for another one. Bit of an ego
Jeez.
pressure. Blitz coming into action. Another swing, another shutdown by Nade.
Nade with the DMR reaction time.
Why?
Loban has been so prolific, but
It's already 1v3.
it's Palu in a 1v3. The Nitro Cell gets the injure onto the Blitz, and a 1v2 looks very winnable after Palu played it so well last
Oh!
He finds himself in another big clutch position. Can Philippe Box be picked up by KZ?
He's crawling outside past the wall, should be safe. The issue is this Blitz, 20 health, but so strong in the 1v2.
SMG-12 for the soon-to-be father who's been at SI's time and time again and never raised the hammer. Palu looks to reposition, keep them guessing. KZ with that DMR.
Oh.
Continues rattling it out through the wall and puts Palu down.
Did they have information? He
Yeah.
was striking him all the way from Bieber door into 90. Big smile from Philippox. I was like, oh, we won the round. Now, mind you, Palu, he had a bit more health on his bar. He can't get blinded, can't get smoked off, had a really good fighting chance. But with 20 health against DMR and Blitz, it's almost impossible. Look at these swings. Ego challenge after ego challenge. Now they're trying to save Volps and say, okay, you're stuck in these stairs, let's fight together, instead of sacrificing him for free. And when we go back and look at how Fury were defending themselves many rounds ago, Yellow Pink, they did information. They were losing a person east stairs, then they're playing 4v5. Lost a person office, playing 3v5.
Oh, I like it. That's such a good looking cosplay too.
In those exterior positions.
That's so cool.
So they will send the help into a worse spot, but to increase the gunfire in that spot.
I like it.
Where most people will fall back and play together in a stronger position. It's very risky. Could also be very heavy on the reward. But for that one, it's Nate's DMR finding 2 kills in the round with that, almost being guaranteed to Furia.
And that leads us to map point. Pangu, Fluxo, WC.
God, already?
2 rounds up.
Holy crap.
Furia, ever since Igor took that tactical time,
I didn't realize it.
Furia have been in control.
We're not seeing that heavy strat setup either. No more Kaid, no more Mira. Of course, that was banned away, but there doesn't seem to be like a second set of layers. You still have options like, you know, your pulse playing below vertically, your Valkyrie, your Echo sort of operators. But that's not Fluxo's typical playstyle. And with how aggressive and Hurts and KC they are getting inside the building for map control, I do think it's smart not to play too isolated. Flores drone, 4 Thorn Trap, a Razor Bloom. I'm gonna say worth it, but it does seem funny that we're in an age where Flawless droning out Razor Blooms from Thorn is actually a good thing. Of course, with the Thorn rework recently, it's a very strong operator nowadays. Being brought out a ton here at SI. Echo got a 3rd Yoga drone, but is still kind of below Thorn, I would say, right now. Great popularity.
Yeah, I just think Thorn is a little bit more versatile.
For sure.
You can play it whenever. You don't have to escort your traps around the map like you do with a Yokai drone. Especially on a map like Border where you can't really sit back safely anywhere on site. Furia, if they see you droning, they will pounce. It's Hertz, who's had a couple of quiet rounds on the Nomad now, looks to try and flush out Dodes from inside CCTV, but KZ, Ego challenges it himself with the AK-12. A first kill for Furia, as Fluxo W7M are reeling, looking for some form of a reply.
Nobody even helping Dotus either. No one's playing at 90, stopping the walk-ins. There's a stop. Palu on Archive's door, but he's on one single point of health himself. The danger point here, Fluxo. All the util pieces are up alive at Furia. The fire, the smoke, capital, the air gems, ton of flashbang utility. If they get to that bomb site, I think that's heavily Furia favored, and I think Fluxo know that. They need a kill.
They're being forced back. Nobody remains on the top floor for Fluxo W7M, and Furia have 50 seconds to work with.
Almost no vert though, right? Mind you, they all brought flashbangs. No secondary soft breaches, but only one flourish drone. First fire going out. Last flourish drone going out. But Lobin wallbanging the stock wall means that they know he's stuck in customs. He has no way back to help his teammates. They can open up the walls in blue and just pressure the bomb site. Volps has to go big, it feels like, for this one.
Palu is in the hot seat. On the bomb site, 1 HP. Volps, though, will lash out and finish off the Flores of JV. Numbers advantage for Fluxo W7M. 15 seconds to play. Furia.
Just have 2 more smokes, too.
Drops down.
There's 2.
There is smoke babes for Loban. Herds has found his head. And so Furia continue battling. But from up above, Volps has traded back. It needs to be a replan attempt here for Herds. KZ with pistol in hand is met by Palu, who pounces.
Wow.
Overtime. As Fluxo W7M.
That was such a clutch, man.
The retake top floor. Volps sprinting around the building, retaking blue, retaking bathroom, fighting everywhere on the map. That gave them just that 5 seconds of freedom because Furia were just about to strike. Then, 5 seconds fire, a kill happens from Volps. They gotta recomposure, figure out what angle are we missing, then they gotta go again. But then, they lost the smoke. Lobin died right when the plant started going down. That's where most teams would panic. Not Fluxo. Instead, it's coordinated aggression, retaking top floor, taking the fight to Furia when they're stuck in the corner.
Palu had how much health?
Fighting only 1 point of health in this round. Found so much value.
Volps against a lot of his former teammates to have a round-winning play and a map-saving play to go upstairs. Furia know exactly how close they were. There were so many things that went wrong in the mid-round for that. So many ways.
I just want to know how much health they had.
You said it. There was no vertical operator brought to the table. You could have used the Flores.
There was a singular flourish on left at that point, so it's technically enough to make the right angle. But I honestly think for Furia, their executes and strategically picking apart a round has been their problem. That's why they banned the mirror. When Mirror and Kai were brought out, Furia forced to frag it out. They couldn't figure out how to breach the walls. Now, in a late round 4v4 plant situation, they also don't get a safe plant figured out either. They knew where 3 of the 4 defenders were. Smokers in stock customs, they had a player Paolo below the hatch, they had Volps running inside of blue, they knew where almost everyone was, yet the plant was a 50-50. So Furia, this is...
They're trying to get the...
Oh!
Oh, man.
Philippox is. There's no Solus on the board, and yet he had the read regardless. Philippox might have taken down the bulletproof camera, but it cost him his life.
It's not worth it anymore. Trading Twitch drone for BP, that's fine. Dying for the BP, not. But now we're seeing Lobin being overzealous. Why are we swinging this door? This is kind of where the weakness comes into play in my mind.
I like it when Pengu gets like disappointed dad mode. Why are we doing this? What are you doing?
Maybe with Volps to go aggressive again. But guys, you won the early battle.
Oh, the swing could not have been worsely timed. Herds was about to deploy an air jab to prevent that exact swing. And instead, his teammate will fall. JV needs to retake that position, get aggressive, trying to fight the CCTV position from East Stairs, worried about the flank from Office as well. A lot of things to worry about here. The Furia and still those dread mines are a headache.
Yeah, so worried about the swings, despite the air gems actually being pre-placed this time around. And now Fluxo, they're playing what I want to do. They're playing very passive sheltered roles, crossfire, Volps in the box and CCTV, Dotus 90 right behind him, Paolo, armored door. They have a triple man crossfire with dots covering the flank. Just don't give them individual 1v1s.
It's a a good track though, but Herds will fall. KZ has to have a big impact here, but he's caught off guard by
Jeez, man.
At the drop of a hat into overtime we go, and Fluxo now on map point here on border.
Perhaps this is the point of frustration for Furia, not closing out regulation, having to into OT, having a very weak start. And again, I feel like Furia not really on the same page. I mean, go back to that Easters push, right? Nomad has the air jab out in his hands. Capital Nate just walks in, looking the wrong direction. They almost both die immediately. Just take
The stage is really pretty.
seconds, right? Air jab first. Okay, that's activated. Now we can walk in together. It feels
All the
like
flowers
Furia
are gorgeous.
just cutting corners, but not really in the usual way where, you know, you're missing something big. They're cutting corners in like the very small details. But it's those small details that are losing them and winning them these very big rounds. Little bit slower, a little bit more accurate. Perhaps they can get a different result. We saw a cheeky punch roll down the roll there from Paolo getting a kill. Speaking of OG angles, now things flip. Furia goes back on defense.
We'll see if they fix it. I think they've turned down the background noise a little bit. We'll see if they fix it.
Almost every single round, 4 pieces of barbed wire. The big difference is Furia were playing very spread out around the map, fighting for everything. Where Floxo picked 1 or 2 spots and put a lot of people in those positions. So Furia have to be careful now on those individual players not getting caught off guard.
And that's the thing, Fluxo, they just keep playing aggressive. They know how to play a nice lockdown strategy, but they also just know how to go at a drop of a hat, at a moment's notice. Now the Monty appears, and Furia, well, it's been a long time since we saw them on their defensive side. Are they locked in enough to prevent this gap finding that Fluxo W7M have been so good at?
Do you think Loben might walk in, main door up, middle stairs?
He didn't even drone him out.
He might be top fragging the game, but he's also died 10 times in this map so far. So he does have to be careful. He is getting caught off guard. He is taking big risks, and it's not always paying off for him.
Of course, the Monty brings you a ton of stability. But here's where Denari becomes very frustrating. Monty can see the laser on the door, but can't risk going for 8 years to clear it.
He has EMPs.
Yeah, that's true. Could toss it on in and walk through. But the issue is, after 12 seconds, it's going to reactivate behind you, and he cannot EMP again. And his teammate does also have EMPs on the Grim. The question is, do they not want to spend them? Do they want to spend them elsewhere?
I think they're waiting for the lineup here. Palu is on the other side. He also has EMPs, but more importantly, he has the Capital.
Oh.
Felipox has 2 more Denari traps in pocket that he could toss out to potentially stun that Monty. And from down below, Volps is also looking to support.
He's stuck.
The Thorn Trap, though, just catches dots and licks him for a bit of damage.
We gotta get the ones in here.
Come through, and now Felipox is being fully targeted. Where will the fire come through from Palu? He's rotated over, and Volp still has his cutoff from down below.
So long, though.
Yeah.
They're worried about losing this by Monty dying. Filibox moves away. Fire went out. Paolo gets a frag. 60 seconds left, though. That's the problem. You got the Ella mines, the Thorn Trap, speeding up too much. You might just die to a trap operator.
Oh, Herds. Down below, he's being hunted by Loben.
He's so stuck. No rotate.
The Deimos targets him. Hostile. But he's worried about a flank. He knows about it. But now he's caught between 2 players. And Furia continues to harass him until he will fall. A response once again as Volps looks for him. And KZ from up above swoops down for Furia. And he finds all of the kills.
Yo, KZ just went off.
A 15th round is required here on the first map, as this Brazilian battle will continue.
Holy crap.
Furia, they push that button. Teamwork activated. Push together. It is such a phenomenal play from Lopin to get in the middle of that building and roam clear alone while his 4 teammates, they take Easter's control. And he goes for a track, and this way the round can be won or lost. If you track the Thorn and get that free kill as Floxo, you're playing 5v3, it is so over. However, Furia have one correct play to do. That is, you all push for the kill. You 2v1 the Deimos with no fear. Meanwhile that happened, KC is fighting up on East Catwalk, also making a similar play, trying to help the Thorn stuck in bathroom.
That was crazy.
everyone work together. There's so much clear communication. In just 2 or 3 seconds, it has to happen for that play to work.
Ironically, we're talking about two of the most aggressive and loose and fighting teams in Rainbow Six, and yet this game has been so much about the strategy.
It has been.
It's been about all the layers of the Denari and the Ella and being within touching distance of your teammates.
It really has been. And it's funny how we can talk about the minor details, right? What was the biggest issue for the attack there? Probably the fact that it took 2 minutes to Capital fire East stairs and get the kill. Had Capital spawned with the Monty, and you have a guy in passport cut and rotate, you walk in, open door, Grimby, fire, kill. Takes 30, 40 seconds maybe. It took them 120 seconds. Small things.
One thing that Fluxo W7M has dominated in on Borders so far has been the opening engagements. They've won 10 out of 14 of the opening kills on this map. Fury need to be careful because at the start of the round, players like hers are getting caught off guard.
Yeah.
Players like Loban are always going for swings.
Feels like we're watching a bit of a mirror between these two teams. They're mirroring each other so well in so many different ways. Individually, stylistically. Let's come back to the same Twitch drone with the same BP camera from 2 rounds ago.
Leapox actually survives this time. He's hiding
behind the barrier.
The next layer of the barrier to make sure he can't get run out on as quickly.
Again, those small things you keep in mind. What happened last time? Okay, I can fix that, optimize it, stand a little further back, spend more time droning, play it safer. Waiting to jump out, still thinking that somebody's looking for him, but we know there is not. You have to respect the Solus in case it's brought out. If you haven't seen all 5 defenders, you won't know if Solus is looking for you. KC, 17 kills. Playing the same role of Loban on the demos, who's sitting on 15 kills.
Samute not Wolf's not near their jammer? Okay.
Above their weight, or maybe at their weight, actually. A wall bang from Damos, that thing's off. The dots goes down early. Those F-that mines from Fenrir cannot be changed around now, meaning Foxo are much more vulnerable than before.
Fluxo W7M have a choice to make. Do they sit back and wait and bleed time? Or do they lash out like they have for this whole game so far?
7-7, James. Lashing it now is madness, right? It's about risk assessment. How big is the risk? How big is the reward? It's the first map in a long BO3 most likely, but Hurst takes down Dotus. Perhaps it's time to lash out on this map. This round might just be over for Fluxo.
Oh. And for the team that staved off 2 map points so far, it must be a 2v5. And none other than Loban, who gets aggressive.
Oh, no.
He's trying to bait out the swing. Volps is being targeted by the Deimos, and he will fall.
Jeez.
Furia will push to their limits, but the Panthers remain as furious as ever. 15 rounds it takes, but they get the job done. 1 map in the bag for Furia.
Now that is gonna feel good, because with the slow start, with Foxo having their number, strategically, operator bandwise, pacing, controlling so many things in the server. I mean, see the hugs there from the side of Furia. So much relief. Oh my god, we actually got the map victory. So hard fought. And if anything, this just goes to show just how evenly matched they are at the end of the day. That's just the first.
Chalet's next, I believe.
Furia might have won the last 10 times in a row that these teams have met, but Fluxo W7M have shown that they are here to play. Next map coming up after this.
Jeez. Okay. I'll be right back.
Welcome back, everybody. I wanted to give you guys a peek into Fluxo's strategy on why the game was so close. Now, they're the most aggressive team in the tournament. They're playing Border, the most aggressive map in the pool, against an equally opponent that is just as aggressive that they've seen before. But what do they do different? They play slow, they play methodical, they force Furia to make over-aggressive mistakes to lose themselves around. And we see it in their preparation on the way they approach the site. They take their time to be able to approach in case Furia has a little bit of an over-aggressive push. Volps is able to notice that Herds has the window prepped for a jump out. And off of the sound cue, he's going to know that a free kill is coming out. Herds jumps out, sound cue is given, Volps gets the kill, and it works flawlessly. Now this stuns Furia. It gives them a moment of calmness for Fluxo to be able to move into the map. But as you can see, everybody's spread out around the map. Now why is that? Because they're playing containment. They're waiting for Furia to make the over-aggressive mistakes. And as you can see, it works perfectly. Loben is holding CC control for over-aggression. Dots is putting pressure onto Armory Balk. Dotas is holding break control. Volps is going to put pressure inside of Dome. And Paula, the most important player to watch, has East control. He can either watch 90 or watch the balcony. Now what does Furia do? Felipox is going to go for an aggressive 1v1 on Dotas. He gets the pick. But here's the mistake, the over-aggression. He pushes onto the balcony, and I really want you to pay attention to what Paula does. He understands that off of this pick, now they lost break control. Some flank could happen. So instead of pushing down 90, he rotates to deal with the pick. Boom. Essentially, Furia is bleeding positioning, and they have nowhere else to go. What does Fluxo do? They put the pressure in now. That's where we see Dots push up. He holds CC control. He's able to lock down KZ, so he can't help Nade. Volps is able to put pressure onto Nade, taking his attention. And now the push from Paula, because it is completely covered and unsuspecting, he's able to push in and get the pick onto Nade. They're able to push in, a nice little 2-on-1. Paula gets the kill, Volps pushes in and is able to then take Fountain control. But I really want you to pay attention to Paulu. Where is he going? He's going to East Balcony, because if we understand where Furia is positioned, one's locked inside Armory, one is inside CC. Loben has a beautiful angle to be able to watch anybody coming in from top metal. Dots is going to rotate all the way to Paula, and Paula is watching the remaining member so that once everyone's together, they can push into the site, take it, execute, and use that man advantage. Now, the reason why it's so impressive is because we already know Fluxo is the most aggressive team in the tournament, but something that is very dangerous is when a team that is aggressive can switch the tempo and play very slowly. Now, despite them losing Border in a close matchup, it makes me confident to say that going onto a map like Chalet that better suits Fluxo's diversity in play means that it won't be a 2-0. But first, we have to go back to the studio to break it down a little more.
That sounds very promising.
That was beautiful.
That was beautiful, and it sounded very promising as well for Fluxo W7M. I do feel like it was nice to have a bit of a breather after this first map, because with how close it was, it genuinely felt like we were already watching the SI Grand Final.
I was just about to say, it definitely felt like a grand final matchup. I mean, I was holding my breath through every single round, and I think Fox really depicted it, how this map really played out. It was a transition of who was going to control that tempo, who was going to get aggressive, who was going to play slow, who was going to play back on those layers, who was going to get that entry pick then to fall back onto those layers. And unfortunately for the side of Fluxo, they do lose it out in the end, but not for a huge fight. Fighting tooth and nail for each piece of control of the map. I mean, this really was a great display for both of these teams, showcasing how much they want to win and push themselves one step closer to getting to a grand final.
I was really believing at the beginning with this lead for Fluxo W7M that maybe this was the map that they were going to take them down. It was Furia's map pick, and we're seeing that here again as well with the highlights of the last map. It seems like once again they turn out to be the big brother of Fluxo.
Yeah, and you know, you just gotta accept it for what it is, but that's the beauty of a best of 3 is you can shake it off. You can learn from everything and all the mistakes that happened from the previous map and then transition into the next. But we have to highlight Loben. We have to highlight KZ. I mean, KZ, 19-8. I mean, what a phenomenal performance from him. But the Loben that we're seeing now is the exact one we saw back in Montreal when they won that event, where he's able to pick and prod around the site, being able to find those entries, find those gaps. That's the exact Loben that we need. And on the side of Dotas, we just need to see him start to perform, because the rest of the team was performing. Now we get into map 2, and then that's where everyone can come into fruition.
Yeah, absolutely beautiful. We do also have the Xbox fan cam as well, showcasing some of our fans in the audience. It genuinely felt like Furia had the upper hand in the matchup, but also with the audience.
I mean, Furia are fan favorites. They've been here before. They've been able to lift trophies, so everybody is going to believe in the team that has succeeded before. But that being said, I'm a big believer in the underdog story. The way Fluxo W7M was playing so slow, adapting adapting to the meta. It is very impressive that of all the teams they've gone through, they've kept it so close on map 1, which is an aggressive map against Furia that arguably should be winning their map pick.
And I think that's an important thing to note, is obviously losing the series 8-7, there's a lot you can take from that just in your own mental of knowing we did fight tooth and nail for everything. We did lose to ourselves. So going into that second map, you don't have that mental block of saying they just outmatched us. They were better than us. They are clearly the deciding winner of this match. They have everything and all the tools to push it to a map 3, to get this second map underneath their belt, as long as we keep that same diversity in their style and play and that tempo.
You know, I was walking, I actually saw the W7M Fluxo players come our way as I was walking back here to the studio, and they didn't look defeated either. I think we're seeing that on the videos here as well. It was definitely different, for example, in Munich, when they were almost getting upset with each other, getting frustrated in between these two maps. That definitely doesn't seem to be the case here. Now, you said it during your telestrator, Fox. This might be a map that suits Fluxo W7M better going on to Chalet.
I'd also like to add that Fluxo W7M usually loses their first map against OXG, against SSG, and then they come back to win it. Now, a map like Chalet, it's not just very one-sided aggression. There, you have to be able to play slow. You have to be able to have that adaptation. Right. Furia has it. We know that. They've lifted hammers before. But that being said, Fluxo really has a good game plan. I hope this loss doesn't affect their mentality and be able to change the way that they play, because they had a great understanding, a great read of what they needed to do. A couple rounds just didn't go in their favor because of the nature of border. Chalet's a lot more consistent. That's where I'd expect Fluxo will be able to get the edge on them.
All right. Well, Maria had a quick chat with some of the coaches before map 1. Let's hear what she has to say.
Fluxo led a border open against Furia, and they went to an overtime. They might know something about that we don't know about Furia. How aware of Furia gameplay and especially weakness they seem to be right now?
So basically, we practice a lot each other, so they know the things we do. But we played against them, I don't know, 5-6 times, and we won all the time. If we played against them 100 times, we will won 100 times, because it's border, you know. The guy who picked this map, side from Fluxo, need to be in jail.
Fluxo was so close to finally beat Furia, but we could see that your faces were kind of upset when you left the stage. What was the conversation in the backstage to change that mood and come back stronger for this next map?
I think we are not upset. We are just calm. I think we are just calm and talk about the errors in the map, and have 2 maps are very comfortable for us. It's no problem. It's not upset. It's just relax.
No problem, it seems. That sounded pretty convincing, and on the other side, we heard that they need to go back to jail.
I mean, it's what Igor said. I mean, it's those idiosyncrasies. You know what each individual does, and the fact that Lobo was even able to move around the map the way that he was and be so fluid was instrumental to be able to keep them so close. But it is going to be a little harder on the side going into Chalet. But it's not to say for Furia, they got to keep the pressure. They got to control the narrative, especially getting that win to get that momentum going into this map. They can't allow Fluxo any breathing room, because they need to constrict all of their movement, stop Low from being able to find those gaps, and that will be the winning success rate for the side for Furia of getting into this Chalet.
I mean, it sure will. The Rome will be Fluxo's successor, but we have to take into consideration the stakes. Fluxo usually loses the first map. They've lost the last 10 times that they played against Furia. It's a situation where the fact that they even got that close on border means that something is working, especially with the shots that Palu and Loban were hitting, with how Loban was playing and him being the successor going into Chalet, with the way the stylistic matchups were working out for them on border. If they play the exact same, I'd imagine we're going to go to a map 3.
And now one more thing before we do go into the second map. I feel like we're playing according to the script, right? We talked about it. You mentioned already the 10-win game streak that Furia have. The maps and the rounds, or sorry, the rounds instead, were quite close, and they are again here. Yeah, it was the only statistic that was close for Fluxo W7M. Everything else was 0. That being said, they put up a fight every single time, but the closer they get, the better. And the map like Border is only going to feed into players like KD, J92. When you go on a map like Chalet, yes, there are positions like that, but again, I really do believe that Fluxo has a good read on how Furia is playing. Sounds very promising. Well, the only thing that we have to do now is we're putting in a lot of faith on the shoulders of the Fluxo W7M players. The question is, can they live up to that? Map 2 is about to start.
Cool. I got back right in time.
Yes, it is, and it's about to begin. And Furia, after a troublesome first map, they finally got it across the line, but it took 15 rounds.
And that's maybe the slight concern if you're a fan of Furia, but it sets the story up beautifully for Floxo WCM to show what they're made of and show how far they can take this stardom roster of Furia.
You saw confidence exuded by Igor in that interview.
Very
the coach of Furia, he said, oh, we know Border. We win that 100 times out of 100 times. But on the flip side, Norris, in his interview, he said, look, we're not stressed. No, we're not worried at all. We are completely
That's
relaxed.
cool.
And as they said on the analyst segment, we have seen time and time again Fluxo W7M bounce back after losing the first map.
Yeah, they have 42% to 58, so the fan vote as well, believing more in Fluxo. As Igor saying, whoever picked Border should go to jail. That's how criminal he thought that pick was, but they showed that they can take them the distance.
Oh, we're finished with Border now. We're on to Chalet. It's a bit of a different map, and it's time to see who takes it. Fluxo W7M have a chance to bite back against the once world champions of Furia, who are a shadow of their former selves.
All right, time for one of my favorite maps. I always like Chalet.
So the scene has been set. Expectations, of course, very high. Chalet, I think the desk did a great job at breaking things down. How, yes, aggression, much like on Border, will still matter, but it plays in more, you can argue, in Floxo, W7M's playstyle of adapting, changing tempo, the fast and the slow. But cast your mind back to Border. What happened after Mirror was banned away? Floxo kept the same tempo, I would argue, every single round after. So I want to see them now have more depth than just one operator to build around, that being the Mirror on Border. Have 2, 3 different operators that in case that one gets banned away, you have something else in the reserve.
And for Fluxo W7M, everyone's looking at them. All eyes are on Palu. All eyes are on Loban. Can he tame his aggression to a way where it keeps Furia running, but it doesn't give them free kills? For Palu, he's played at 8-6 Invitationals. He's played here in Paris before in the grand
there goes
final
Thorn.
and lost it to NIP. He has seen championships slip through his fingers time and time again, and we're a long way from that grand
Ella and
final.
Grim too.
Both of these teams will have to run this gauntlet in the lower bracket
they will.
for a chance to vie for the hammer.
Over the bench, might have seen it just there for a second. It's funny because I can't see them anymore. There we go.
We'll see them in a brief moment.
Yeah, I'll wait. I'm getting a little bit jumping the gun here.
Yeah, you are. You excited about these?
I'm excited because a little bit more than usual.
Is there something a little saucy?
It's just that I feel like it shows us how Border played out and how the teams are adapting into Chalet. And we're just getting a little bit teased here. Okay, the players, they're looking nice here from Volps. Okay, he's locked in.
Volps, he's talked a lot of smack in the group stage and in the early parts of the playoffs.
Yeah.
He's been very lippy in the all chat. A few players throughout the tournament have been getting in the ears of their opponent in the all chat. Volps has been the king of it. But finally, we see the operator bans, and I'm seeing something pretty saucy from Furia.
The Thorn and Ella ban on Chalet? I mean, Furia are not known to be a shield team. I want to see at least 2 or 3 rounds of either Blitz or Blackbeard right now.
What the heck was that?
Yourself a prime real estate for playing those fast entry-style operators.
And it's the exact 2 operators that Igor called Furia to be leaning into when they were 2-0 down on Border in that tactical timeout.
Excuse me.
For Floxo's side, of course, being on defense, the banner with the Grim and the Glass, again, that power
Excuse me.
of meta. Removing 2 from action, allowing the other ones to go through. So no surprise to us that Casey will play the demos here to start things off. Who's doing so well earlier. Open window for your teammate. Teammate holds the cutoff. Maybe get a freebie. This is trying to cut off the map earlier than usual and catch somebody by surprise. But Dots, is he gonna risk it? Does he even know the window's opened up? That's the question.
Furia.
Oh.
Explanations there. Palu baited into a little bit too much movement, and Herds just holding his angle from the piano window, finds a free kill. And then immediately after that, Heartbreeze starts to be enabled on the office wall. Here's a bit of aggression from Dots. He doesn't find what he's looking for. And Fluxo W7M are starting to struggle. The impacts continue to roll on through to destroy these ace Selmas that are looking to breach the main wall onto side.
They have gone through now. So they're pressuring the bomb site before messing. I mean, that pressure on Dotis, that might be a problem. Falling back, also a problem. Volps, again, feels like the hero. So many rounds on Border, has to be that middle link. either helping his teammate or finding a pick for himself. This is where Fury keep applying pressure everywhere across the map, right? The outside piano window, they breach the bomb site wall, they're waiting for something. Dodds with a great lash out, stuck by the bomb site. He wasn't.
Dodds is looking to lash out again onto the balcony. Everyone seemingly harassing JV.
Jeez.
Outside on that balcony, but Dodez and Dots are both losing.
Oh.
And Nade has stuck up from the main stairs. What are Fluxo going to do about that? They've lost their anchor of a player at the top of mezzanine, and now Volts is feeling a hell of a lot of pressure. Takes up Casey's head, finds a second as well. Where is the response from Furia into the 2v3? They have not achieved
JV's low too. Oh.
And Loban lashes back for Fluxo. JV being hunted down. They
Ooh,
know
that was
exactly
almost 2
where he
kills.
is, as he has 1 HP and a DMR to hold on to. Sees Loban for a brief moment. He's got some info as well, but he doesn't have the diffuser. In the close angle, there's no way the DMR wins that fight. Loban should have him dead to rights with the SMG-12. If not, Volp surely should with the Scorpion. So out comes a shotgun, out comes a C4. Shot out of mid-air.
Jeez.
Swing. And
That swing was so risky.
boys for the first round of Chalet.
Beautiful. You say it, and it happens. Who had to be the hero, James? Who was it that was in that middling position?
Had to be Volps.
It was your boy Volps. Just like on Border so many times before. But a big praise to Loban because he enabled the play. You might see it in the replays here in a moment. Loban walked up into the piano hallway behind Volps. So Volps looking down the blue stairs. He was not worried about his left here on piano because Loban was right behind him holding the crossfire. So if Nate pushed up that main stair, you see it right here. He's holding the soft wall into piano deeply. So absolute worst case, you know, you get a 1-for-1 trade. This small thing, Loban giving space to Volps, means Volps can fully focus on his gunfight and not worry about looking around looking for multiple angles.
I guess it, yeah, it is. It is going on over there, isn't there?
At the top of the stairs. A flashbang, a grenade, a Capitao, somebody on the window of display to try and have some kind of
Hockey's going on right now.
and a jump in at the same time.
But you know, display window got shot dots like 10 seconds
Excuse me.
He was the player that needed to be alive earlier in the round. Luxo actually, while that did look like a chaotic aggressive round, it was
playing Finland and Sweden, I think.
And again, taking the fights in the right areas, that is going to be how you win Chalet very often.
Slovakia as well. Just playing who right now?
On the mezzanine that we saw last round, or on top of blue stairs. You only have a very few angles on this map where you're not exposed from an exterior position, from a window or pal or a far line of sight, and you gotta make use of those angles.
But if you want to talk about clearing positions with Util, how about this? We've got Ying, we've got Monty, we've got Sens, we've got IQ to spot out any catch or any gadgetry, which can then be hunted down by the Brava.
So operator-wise, I think Furia had a slight advantage, but it comes down to execution at the end of the day.
This is going to be hard for Herds. He's not going to be able to take down that dread mine, I don't think.
No. I mean, maybe with a ridiculously well-positioned nade.
There's no way. I mean, without cooking, you're going to have to land it in the rafter.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Very well-positioned.
Not happening. There's absolutely no way.
But you have no faith in my boy Hertz. Okay.
I mean, I feel like he might be prone and get an angle. I know he tried for a second there.
Yeah. The issue is, without jumping in that window, this might be tricky for Philippox, right? He has very limited supportive angles to work with.
Philippox almost fell down. Oh, big nitro. That's going to...
Jeez.
For a brief moment, Hertz actually jumps straight into the dread mine. He looks to take it desperately.
Oh, that's two. That's two so quickly.
Has had a big impact. Volps, though, he makes the top of library stairs his own. 2 big kills, and he's hunting for more. Bit of damage onto the feet of Philippox, and the Monty is about to fall. Nade finally shuts down Volps, and Furia have the advantage again. A minute to play.
Not by much.
Philippox 1 point of health on the Monty. Nade about half HP. Super winnable for Fluxo. Sadly for them, there's no C4s left, no impact grenades either. They need that one more kill. Look at this. He's right around the corner. But the flank is open. He's not watching it. The drone will see him. Do you fight or do you fall back? He's going to push up the staircase.
Monty's going to see him.
Oh!
Onto Nade! A beautiful shot for
That was such an insane shot, dude.
For Fluxo W7M. JV in a 1 versus 2, and they know exactly where he is. 2 smoke grenades in pocket as he clears out the Banshee and makes his way towards the site. There's info on his
Diffuser's upstairs too.
JV threads the needle. A 1v1. against Palu. Palu holds his ground on the stairs. He knows he has the diffuser upstairs, but JV has to close the gap, has to close the distance. And Palu weathers the storm for Fluxo W7M, wins it in the 1v1, and finds a second round for his team.
Jeez, man.
Shots that were hitting that round from both sides.
Yep.
The fadeaway jump
That's what I'm saying.
on the pixel on the keeper to get into that 2v2 that they desperately needed. JV flick, wallbang, one tap. Just reacting off, getting shot essentially. And Paolo in another very important position, this time finds the clutch.
I want to translate what I just saw.
Yeah,
in the
Casey just asked Volp something.
Yeah, I think talking about the Kiba barriers from the Azami. I don't know if the teams, obviously KZ and Volp's former players.
That was insane.
On the old W7M roster back in Montreal.
This right here. That's so insane, man.
W7M made the grand final only to fall to G2. And that roster, of course, was KZ, JV, Herds, Volps, and Julio.
Yeah.
Who now coaches for Falcons in that upper bracket final later today. Fluxo W7M, though.
That shot was unreal.
Shots of their own. You talked about what JV managed to land. How about
Excuse
the
me.
dots with the TCSG?
Absolutely ridiculous. And honestly, Volps on top blue stairs in 2 rounds, gotten 5 kills. It's him both rounds, putting his team on his back, saying, I will give you a way back into this one, trust me. And he played off that keep barrier and again isolated positions. Use the keeper to block off the office jump in, fight blue stairs, then flick around, fight the out jump in office window. It's beautiful. Using a bit of map design, blocking off the angles, being very present about what's happening around you. First with a quick entry library though. Can't go too fast because a red ping came out. Enemies in piano hallway. Peeling back the layers, but look at Fluxo's setup. We spoke about the playing strategy. They got the Mira, the Kaid, the 2-Brow. They want to lock down the office walls upstairs. And the bomb site is a kitchen and dining.
Wow.
As long as they have upstairs control, they can see the entirety of the bomb site. But now we're going to talk about Fury, right? They banned 2 traps, Ela Thorn. Now they're playing the Blitz. Phillypox combined with the Lion Scan, they gotta find an entry somewhere in this map. It's either clearing top floor and going for kills, or finding a gap bottom floor and getting site control.
And Flag's going to be really challenging here for Fluxo W7M. Herds has expended 2 sets of track stingers on both the lobby stairs and the blue stairs, locking up any flank potential. Now KZ making absolute Swiss cheese out of the site. But Philippox elsewhere is taken down. I didn't see where that angle from Dots came from down below somehow. And somehow Palu is allowed to survive as he tried to retreat near the main master window. Fluxo W7M are finding a few too many kills here. Furia, what's going wrong? And Herds isn't even given his chance as Loban looks to retreat back further. Dodaz is still alive as I say that. He falls. KZ finally finds a kill through the Swiss cheese on the main wall. If Herds isn't careful, he's not going to see that Loban is actually prone down next to him.
Keep in the fall off, playing the numbers game.
Oh, the drone will see him for sure.
They try to set it really well. He can still fall back, to be fair. The keep on is a very small gap, or he can advance forward. Look for that kill.
Oh!
There it goes. The wallbang comes through.
KZ does a lot of damage to him, but KZ's low HP himself. Loban needs to take the fight, and he takes Herds with him before he goes down. Big Nitro sound. KZ, the 1v3.
He's hiding. He's in Solarium.
I think Volps is going to win this.
They have no idea.
He's just prone there.
What?
Dashing up at the last moment. And
Oh my god, KZ.
Try and get that one over me, I dare you. 1v2 now for the Lion of Furia. And he finds a second kill.
Palu's 1 HP. They're both 1 HP.
Palu was on the verge of death. And KZ,
he's gonna floor bang him.
The player who's done what Palu could not and raised the hammer, must now win in the 1v1. Palu looks to retreat back. KZ has a diffuser, and he drops down. Master sounds. The player is actually outside. He might be able to look for the plant here, but he's going to have to stick him for 6 seconds. Palu should surely win this. He's got the red ping, and KZ cannot stick the plants. Palu makes it 3 rounds straight for Fluxo W7M.
And 2 rounds in a row where he gets into the 1v1 battle. I mean, again, such a good effort bringing it back. Furia always
She didn't want to let him kill him.
But think about how that round started. It was a 3v5. The Blitz died. Someone else somewhere else died. It's been a struggle in the early game for Furia for half of these rounds on Border and on Chalet, and in the other half they get a good early start, but a struggle of a late round. Furia missing some serious consistency across the board, and Igor is gonna call it tag time and talk to his boys.
Coisa, vocês já estão falando, vamos plantar aqui, vamos fazer isso, vamos fazer aquilo. A gente domina uma área, a gente agora trava e fala, tá, qual que é a rotate pra botar os caras mortos jogando. Esse round aqui, se a gente tá mais atento no drone do Sagon, a gente tinha visto antes, o Case tinha feito o clutch pra gente. Então continue jogando o jogo, morto ou vivo, e vamos fazer as coisas ao mesmo tempo. A gente não pode demorar tanto tempo pra fazer um 3-2, tá ligado? Fox, quando a gente puxar o semi-biblioteca, vamos botar o cara embaixo, pra gente começar a pegar kill nesses caras ali, que eu acho que vai funcionar. A gente pode continuar fazendo a Lobo, talvez com o Erdina entrando embaixo, só que se eles estão batendo, eles estão lá, guys, travaram no animal, no coisa, a gente pega a brecha banheira, a gente pega as brechas do que a gente ganhou
Eu quero puxar o Ezek lá, Igão. O Ezek aqui.
Tá, então bora, na tua confiança.
Bora,
guys.
fechou.
Bora. Diminui, bora, porra.
Bora que tá de boa.
Back-to-back 1v1s for Palu. Fluxo W7M are laughing. These rounds have been close, but they've been getting across the line. What does Igor say to the boys in a moment like that?
This one's hard because, to me, in my very limited understanding of Portuguese, it sounded so strat heavy. But at the very end, that was the energy, like, bora, you know, come on, let's go. Bringing up the hype again. Because I do think that this will come down to a bit of a mental game.
Oh, they saw him there.
Furia, back when they were the team to watch out for, going to every grand final and winning every single grand final, they were mentally still a little bit weak at moments. But they were so dominant that they were rarely tested on the mental, because they would just keep winning. The biggest challenge for teams that find a lot of success, in my mind, is what happens when they start to lose. Well, that's been the last calendar year for Furia. Sure, they won Reload, but most people were like, well, quote-unquote, Mickey Mouse event. It doesn't count as a full event, right? And I think Furia themselves, they take that trophy, they felt good about it, of course, as you should, but they want more.
Reload was just the proof that this team that almost disbanded after failing to qualify for Montreal
still had it.
Could actually still vie for another trophy.
That's it.
And with all the rumors about this maybe being the last dance,
Oh my!
time than the present, but